PCVR looks fun, which it is, until you actually try it yourself and then you realize that it is a blurry mess at default. And if you're suffering this issue currently, in this video I will show you the best settings and a comparison of the two. First, let me show you how big of a change this can make. Here's a side-by-side comparison of the two. I'm not going to tell you which is which for 5 seconds. Okay, now you can see which is the stock settings and which is the best settings. In my opinion, there is a really big change. Now the difference is a lot bigger when you're within a headset. Looking at it by video doesn't do the comparison much justice, but in headsets, it looks way different. The few things I can point out is the aliasing, which is increased in the stock settings, and the overall blurriness that can also be seen in the stock settings. In the best settings, it is far sharper, obviously a higher resolution, and overall, it just looks better. Now for the settings, first off, you don't want to use SteamVR unless you have to. Like if you're playing Half-Life Alyx. This is because SteamVR overall decreases performance. So simply go to Meta Horizon Link settings and set OpenXR runtime to link, and then the same thing in Steam settings. Okay, now it's time for the actual Quest settings. So first, go to the Meta Horizon Link app, and you want to make sure that your device is connected, and then go to Devices, click on your device, go to Graphics Preferences, and then it should look a little something like this. So for instance, it is saying for me that the recommended is 72 Hertz, but at least in my opinion and with my testing, I personally like 80 Hertz more, and then I skyrocket it up to 1.6x. Now, here's the thing, you don't have to do this. All of us have different systems, so currently I have a Ryzen 5 5500, and for my GPU I have a RX 9060 XT, so this is a pretty good PC, but you might have a better PC or a worse PC than I do. So this is really about testing. You can use whatever settings you want. What I would say to do is start at 72 and then just keep inching it up from 1.0. So for instance, if I had a worse GPU, or if I had my last GPU, I would be at a RX 6600, which wouldn't be able to do this. And all I would do is just start from 1.0x, test it at 1.1, save and restart, boot it up, test the game, see how it looks, and just keep going up until you can find what your max is before the performance is bad. But for me, I found that if you have a GPU and a CPU like mine and just an overall system like mine, then you want to use 80 Hertz 1.6x. You want to push it as high as possible because the resolution is what really matters. This is what makes your game look sharp and not blurry. Now we can move on to the next thing. Okay, next we are going to be using a very helpful app named Oculus debug tool.exe. To find it, just go to Program Files, Oculus Support, and then Oculus Diagnostics, and then open Oculus debug tool.exe. Once you open it, you should see a lot of different things. These settings do look crazy, but to be honest, there's only a few things that you actually need to touch. So first, you can test the pixels per display pixel override, which is basically just the render resolution that you've seen in the Meta Horizon Link app earlier, but you can change this in real time. So for instance, I set mine to 1.6x. I can change this to, let's say, 1.3x while I'm playing the game to see the difference. But I'd say just keep this at 0 unless you know what you're doing, or unless you're testing this. If you're not testing this, keep this at 0 because you don't want to override your render resolution. Next, go down to Oculus Link. This holds a lot of very useful things. First, go to distortion curvature and set this to low. This makes it so that the same pixel density is used all the way across the screen instead of just in the center. As you can see, it says that the higher the curvature, the more pixel density there is in the center, which is good in some cases, but for VR, with your eyes always moving, you don't want there to be a higher resolution in the very middle of the screen instead of it being all the way around the screen. Having the pixel density the same all around the screen gives you higher quality no matter where you look. But if you have it at high curvature, looking only in the middle of the screen looks good, and then if you look anywhere else, the quality just starts fading. So you want to make sure that this is set to low. Then video codec, make sure you set this to H.264. You could try H.265, but that is completely up to you. Now you want to go down to encode bitrate, and if you're using a wired setup, which I suggest you do, you want to make sure that you set this to 960. The reason why you do this is because if you're using a 1 gigabit per second cable, the highest that you can possibly go on link is 960. If you're not using a 1 gigabit per second cable, then you do not want to do 960 because it just won't be possible. But if you are, use 960. If you are not, or if you're using a wireless setup, you want to try maybe 200 or 300 megabits per second. Last but not least, you want to go down to link sharpening, and you want to make sure that you set this to normal or quality. This is completely up to you. This is mostly preference, but you definitely want to use link sharpening because it will give you a sharper image.